Hello everyone, I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Eric.
And welcome back to Batmania! Today...
Will this be the shortest Batmania?
It will. Almost assuredly. Especially since, well, it depends on whether or not we retroactively went back and decided to do Scooby-Doo and Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Except even that, I think,
because we probably do both those as one.
We would, so it would be longer.
Yeah, because those are 40 minutes.
Because those are 40 minutes each, so actually that would be heftier even than your average direct-to-video animated movie, wouldn't it? It'd be, or it would get right there.
It would be about the same length, yeah.
It'd be right there. Today we're doing Batman Beyond. Everybody do it with me. The movie.
We just discovered it's 2 episodes. I thought it was 3, like World's Finest.
Yeah.
It's 2 episodes.
But I probably still will buy this, just because they do put them together. So you can watch them as one thing.
You know who deserved the movie more than anyone else?
It'll be interesting to see how if it's seamless between them though, like what that transition looks like.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, what was you saying?
You know who deserved the movie VHS treatment more than anybody else? Gargoyles.
Yes.
5-part opener.
Yeah.
5-part opener.
And it felt like a movie.
Mm.
And it felt enough like a movie that it gets away with that whole like pilot movie thing where like for the longest time the only thing from the Flash, the 90s Flash show that you could see was the pilot, and everybody just thought of it as a movie. It used to make movie lists until finally we got the whole show.
Yeah.
And things like that. Yeah, Gargoyles is great. People have asked us to cover something from
that. And it's not paced
and
like...
I love that show. I mean, I'd love to do something on it at some point.
Well, it's not paced like... because the whole first episode is in medieval times. Like, it's paced like a movie.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't get to present day until the very end of it, right? Or does it bookend? It's been forever since I've seen it.
No, it's the whole first episode. It might even be the whole first 2 episodes, and then you get to present day, and the rest of it's in present day.
Oh, right, okay.
But
it's been so long since I've seen that.
I
had that on VHS. I wish I kept it. Do you know about this? The VHS for that had
a game,
board game, a VCR board game. Mm-hmm.
Cool. I want to say it also is not all 5 episodes. Like, it's been trimmed.
Maybe so.
But, yeah.
Yeah, well, and actually, 5 wouldn't have even fit on a VHS. Would it? Well, no, maybe it would have. Maybe it would have.
Well, that's like the traditional film.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Gargoyles was the thing I wasn't really allowed to watch as a kid, so...
Really?
Later
Every now and again, you bring up things that you weren't allowed to watch. Anyway, this turned into a different video real quickly. So, anyway, this gives us an excuse to do a commentary on the first 2 episodes of Batman Beyond, which, the pilot, 2-parter, which is one of my favorite things, and, I mean, one of the best things in the series, and, I mean, maybe I would say that with Batman. It's really, really good.
It's really good.
And I don't even, right now, just sitting here, I don't remember if it topped my top 10 or if it's second on the list, but it's way, way up there.
Because it's really good.
I did not remember, because Eric talked about it like it was 3 parts, and I just didn't remember that it was only 2. But we put this on, and the timestamp was like 41 minutes, and I was like, oh, Eric, this hardly qualifies as a film. But it'll be fun to do, and it'll be, as Eric says, probably be our shortest. So anyway, if you have this, and this will be a weird thing, because most people probably won't have this. So you may have to pause us to get to the second episode.
Mm.
You might have to finagle your syncing a little bit, but...
Well,
anyway,
how many people have World's Finest? Just as World's Finest at this point.
I think more people probably, just because, as I keep saying, it shows up on a lot of compilations. So if you have the Batman vs. Dracula, you probably have it.
I think there's a release of Return of the Joker and this.
Oh, okay. I think you're right.
So.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. And I know World's Finest, there's at least one where there's like 3 things, and it's one of those things, I think.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, I think there's more people that would have that, especially people that want all the animated Batman stuff but didn't care that much about Superman the Animated Series. A lot of people forget that was even in Superman.
That's true.
I think arguably maybe even more people have that than would have Superman. I would go that far.
You might be right.
But anyway, let's go ahead and get into it. If you have this, or you want to try to finagle your sync, get your DVD, however you want to watch it, get it to timestamp 0, and get ready to press play when I say now. Here we go. This used to be on Netflix. It's not anymore.
Mm. It hasn't been on Netflix in a long time.
Yeah. It and both Justice League shows were there for a while.
Yeah. Justice League pops in and out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Batman Beyond's ever come back.
But both Batman and Superman are still on Amazon.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Everybody, please press play. Right?
Is Batman Beyond on Amazon?
I don't think so, but I haven't looked it up.
Okay.
Now!
Red skies.
The future is red.
Yeah.
The future is very red. So, Eric, I feel like this show stands... Just these 2 episodes by themselves stand alone really well as a piece. Like it's... If I go back to this series, sometimes I won't watch the whole thing. I'll just go back and watch this.
You can kind of do it with the whole first season.
Yeah.
There's good stuff in season 2, but you can kind of just watch season 1 almost as... Because that's the end of Blight. Like, that kind of ends at the end of season 1, and that's always been a mistake that the show made.
I wonder why he's called Powers.
Because he's Max Powers?
Because he wants lots of power. I love what Shirley Walker does in the score there, and bringing back the Batman theme for a minute, but then it kind of, like, peters out at the end. Because he's old and he doesn't do this job as well anymore. I love how big he is.
He's all Frank Miller Batman. At least in size.
Yeah, but you always talk about how he's just bigger in these shows anyway.
Well, I realized that the other day when we were watching something. I brought up.
Yeah, because I always thought this was an intentional homage to Miller. But I think he looks bigger than he is just because, or like, bigger than he used. Because I want to think, as he gets older, he got bigger. Like, he's overcompensating.
But it's probably just because it's...
That suit.
Yeah, we're used to Terry McGinnis in that suit.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the conventional wisdom might have been to put him in the regular suit at the beginning of this, and I think it's really cool that he's in the Beyond suit.
Well, it makes sense that he had to have built it.
Yeah.
It had to already exist. But that would also suggest that it's outdated technology by the time Terry gets to it.
That's a good point.
It's like 10 years out of date.
Yeah, but maybe he put more things in it and we just do it, because we don't know what exactly he can do right now. Do we see him go invisible or anything?
No, but we see the rocket boots.
Yeah, sure.
So this show, well, first of all, this is great because he's about to do it.
Yeah.
Because I could see Batman picking up a gun and trying to scare somebody with it, but the implication is he was going to
this is the night
him.
where he almost went too far.
Yeah.
And it was because he's too old to do this, and he's got blood. Like, he's too old to do this. He's trying to save himself.
And that blood is important.
It's self-preservation.
They don't get to do blood often. Like this aired on television. He had blood.
It was a big deal, yeah.
That's
and of course we see it in Phantasm. I mean, it's not like we never did it.
Well, but that was direct to video. It wasn't on television.
Right, exactly. I think there are a couple places in the show where you see a little bit of blood here and there.
But they don't get to do it often.
No.
And so like anytime there is blood, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
So I think this show is kind of developmentally fundamental to me and how I view Batman. Because
me too, but we'll see if it's for the same reason.
What this show,
there's the intro.
I love the intro to this show.
I know, it's wonderful.
But the implication, or what's suggested by what this show is that
it's weird that this is in a different aspect ratio.
Yeah.
What is this release and what is it doing? Anyway, I'm sorry.
Is that Batman is human. Batman knows he's human and has to stay human, and Batman lives in a world where he could use Lazarus pits or technology to keep himself young and keep fighting, but like then he's not human anymore.
You know, that's an idea Tom Waltz is dealing with right now. There's a whole conversation at the point we're recording this. This will be a couple months old now, but I think it's issue 25 where he's talking to Gotham Girl and she asks him why he doesn't fly.
Tom
because
King.
What did I say?
Tom Waltz.
Tom King is what I meant to say. I'm sorry. I was
like, oh, in Ninja Turtles.
I was talking Ninja Turtles earlier, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
He's got that conversation with her about.
Yes, that's exactly.
Why don't you fly? You could. There's all these things that can make you fly.
Yeah. No. For me,
because I don't need to. And what that probably really means is this. I feel less human.
It's really important that Bruce Wayne gets old.
Yeah.
And that's fundamental for me with Batman. And I'm sure it's because of this show, but Batman doesn't cheat. He will not use a Lazarus pit. He will not...
and he's all about pushing himself as far as he can go, and to a fault where he thinks of himself almost as immortal, even though he clearly isn't, and he doesn't want to be. So there's like there's a paradox there.
Mm-hmm.
I always
wonder. The news anchors.
I always wonder if those news anchors are real people or not.
I think they are, but I'm not sure. I always assumed they were.
They could be holograms.
One of the character designers on this was.
Okay, but Joker guy, you know that when that flips to another shot or something, it's no longer going to be graffiti over a person's face. I'm sorry.
Last name. He passed away recently.
Who are we talking about?
New Frontier. Darwin Cook.
Darwin
Cook was a character designer on this.
Oh,
and you
okay.
can see it.
Yeah.
Once you start looking for it, like those newsacres, very Darwin Cook.
I didn't even know that.
Yep.
We should talk about how this was a project that initially everybody was scared of and nobody wanted to make.
Well, because Warner Brothers wanted to do a young Batman show in the future.
And they were like, that's a really bad idea. It's so gimmicky.
Mm-hmm.
And they kept trying to make it sillier and more cartoony. It's kind of astounding they let them make this show.
Yeah.
The way it is, because it's one of the darker things they did, in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Especially this pilot. This pilot's really dark.
And just with the kinds of social commentary they were allowed to do on this.
Do you think the pool's over there?
Because the one thing that's kind of tragic about this show, of course, is Batman's trying to set an example. He does the best he can in cleaning up the streets, and Gotham didn't get any better.
Mm-hmm. But I do think Gotham got different.
Well, it did.
The crime becomes more corporate. You have less people running around.
Yeah, but you still have like the Joker gangs,
Yeah.
and you have a lot of people that are. You got a lot of backlash against the corporations.
Mm. And it's all very cyberpunk, obviously.
Yeah. And I mean, when I say social commentary, I mean we do all the stuff we tend to do with futuristic things like this, where the rich people get richer, the poor people get poorer.
Mm. It's that.
It does have a distinct look to it, I think.
That definition of cyberpunk, the high tech, low life kind of a thing.
Yeah. I will never understand why Marvel didn't try to counter it and do a Spider-Man 2099 show. I'll never understand.
They tried.
Did they?
And it became SpiderMan Unlimited.
Well, that was a mistake.
Yep. No.
Because I always look at Unlimited and think 2099, and I was sure there was inspiration there. That comes after this.
Yeah, and that was a reaction to this.
Okay.
But as I understand it, that is the starting point for that show, and it's the flip of how this show got created.
Because the only thing that is cooler than Terry McGinnis's Batsuit is the 2099 suit.
Yep.
And it's been really interesting in comics how both of those things have come back so hard in comics.
Yeah. So he's kind of what's his name from Sin City, right?
I'm not sure what we're talking
about. The Michael Clark Duncan character.
Oh yeah, sure. I thought you were talking about this Snivelly guy.
No.
I didn't know what you were talking about. Yeah, absolutely. Well, now I'm going to spend the next 40 minutes trying to think of that guy's name. It'll come to me at some point. Well, yeah, but he wasn't in that.
Yeah, he is.
Oh, is he in that?
Yeah, he's in Name to Kill For.
Oh, I thought you meant from the first. I forgot you read both of those recently, right?
Now, Powers is voiced by an actor who auditioned for Lex Luthor, and I think played Lex Luthor in the Superboy TV show.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Okay.
But he auditioned for Lex Luthor, and they didn't go with him, but they remembered him and brought him in for this.
The Lex in that show is hilarious.
Yeah.
It's the funniest thing.
I think he was Lex in Superboy, but I might be wrong.
Okay. So I was talking about the tragedy of where Gotham goes in the future.
Mm-hmm.
You're right that crime is different, but it's interesting, of course, that the company that's responsible for some of it is Wayne's company.
Mm-hmm. Well, because he becomes apathetic
it's
to
like
everything.
he's got it's like he's something of a liability because he has this company and he has so much money. All the things he used to do.
And he's not paying
really
attention
positive.
to it, and
yeah, he lets it kind of go to rot. Yeah, he gets kind of cynical. He didn't start the fire. That's pretty melodramatic.
You know what I really like about this, though?
What's that?
It's an actual broken family where we deal with both parents.
Yeah.
Most of the time, when there's only one parent, we will never talk about the other parent. Like every Disney movie ever.
Disney movies tend to do that. I think I think more modern things, at least circa this, you'll go to the other parent, but they suck.
Mm. And obviously he's going to die. He's just going to live with his mom for the rest of it. But I like that we're dealing with that dynamic of living with one parent and wishing you lived with the other parent.
Yeah, it's more complicated than just one's great and one's terrible.
I think
that guy obviously cares.
Yeah, I think it really is a grass is always greener kind of a thing. We're like, oh, it'd be better if I was living with mom.
And I also think we do a good job of making it clear where the line is in the future here, where we haven't completely like everyone hasn't completely lost their humanity.
Mm-hmm. I've always thought this lead Joker design was interesting because he's basically the Joker, but he's got white, or off-white lipstick.
Mm-hmm.
It's a weird choice. Sorry, you're done. So they're kind of this show's version of the mutants, right? Like that's kind of what they are. The mutants from
the mutants
from Dark Knight Returns.
Oh, I see. Sure.
They've got like their own lingo and
yeah, absolutely. It's going to be really hard not to just look for Miller in this now. Well, I mean, really, that was the line delivery you went with? Okay. I'm not sure why I never really thought of that before, but obviously, like Batman in the future, you're gonna look at Miller some.
Yeah. I mean, it's as underivative as it can be.
Yeah, exactly. And I think also with the future stuff, just with doing this kind of, because we were doing this sort of thing all over the place in the 90s. Trying to create the cyberpunk future.
Mm-hmm.
Not even just Miller. It's as underderivative from all kinds of things as it possibly. Like, it's not any more Blade Runner inspired. It's not any more Tron. Like that's a very Tron looking motorcycle.
Well, and that's the thing that I really gravitate towards with this show, and why I like this show so much is I like cyberpunk stuff, and there's not a lot of good cyberpunk. And this is real good cyberpunk.
The approach they took is this shouldn't work. How do we make it work?
Yeah.
And really falls into my writing philosophy of you can make anything work. Like, this shouldn't work.
And Blade Runner is obviously an influence.
Of course. I'm just saying, not any more than it should be.
Yeah. They
don't just totally rip it off.
Yeah.
There are things that, it makes sense that you're deriving from, but it doesn't feel generic.
Well, yeah, when you're making a cyberpunk thing, you're going to look at the cyberpunk thing.
It doesn't feel generic, and it doesn't feel like you're just ripping something off. And I said that motorcycle looked kind of Tronish. What am I talking about? It's obviously Akira.
Yeah, yes. Which obviously is huge right before they start making this.
Mm-hmm.
That's when it hits in America, and yeah.
That's great.
Someone made the Akira motorcycle.
Really?
And it runs. It's really cool.
So the old man really did just walk up and say, "Get off my lawn."
Yep.
That really did happen.
And I know...
And that's why this is Manos' favorite version of Bruce Wayne.
Well, I was just about to say... I know I tend to gravitate towards cranky old men characters.
That's true.
It's a thing. I love old Bruce Wayne.
I love old Bruce Wayne. To the point where in comics, when we get away from him in Batman Beyond, because there's a lot of Batman Beyond now.
Yeah. Unfortunately, not a lot of it good.
Yeah. But I want him to be there. I mean, at some point, inevitably, it would make sense to kill him off. But like, I just... It's much more interesting because this is a legacy character, and it's interesting to continue to compare them and the ways in which Terry is completely different from Bruce Wayne but still counts as Batman. I mean, that's what makes it work.
I almost think at this point we should just reboot the comics, like just do like an Ultimate Batman Beyond kind of a thing. Like let's just start over.
The continuity is so confused anyway.
Yeah. Well, and we don't know what to do with any of the characters we've established moving forward. So, like, let's just start over.
We can't decide what from this is exactly canonical. We can't decide if it's a sequel to this or if it... I mean, it's both, right? It's because it takes all this stuff, but the problem is... And also makes it part of regular DC canon, but the problem is this stuff is all a sequel to and in the same continuity as DCAU. It doesn't make any sense to do that.
I love Ace. That was such a cool choice. Of like, well, he's an old man. He's got a violent dog. Well, if he's gonna have a dog, it might as well be Ace.
Yep.
I love that. No,
and they kind of make him a character.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I mean, he kind of ends up feeling like a dog that sort of gets what Bruce Wayne does and what he is.
Well, and he becomes like a barometer. Like, if Ace doesn't like you, something's wrong.
Right.
If Ace does like you, it's... like, he almost proves himself to Ace, and, like, Ace starts liking him, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
No, I think one of the tragic things about this show is... I think... Like, I really like first season. Like, this show kind of really loses its way.
Right.
And... it's weird because the idea isn't what should work, but this show is almost, after you get past the first season, like, it's the idea. The idea is so good, and nobody knows how to make it work.
Yeah, and it gets to a point where it starts to feel like all they really have is the idea.
Mm.
And I don't know why they lost interest. Or it always felt to me like they kind of lost interest.
Especially in season 3.
And all you have to do is keep telling a serialized, broader story, because that's what a lot of this season is. I mean, it's got its one and dones, but it's got a big story in the background. And they started doing that in Justice League. This does it before anything they've done.
And it should have kept doing it.
It should have kept doing that.
And why?
And eventually, by third season, it should just be one fluid story, I would think, episode to episode. The concept just makes so much sense for that. And part of that is because, you know, people like to compare Terry to Peter Parker a lot. In a lot of ways, this does kind of feel like as Spider-Man as Batman could possibly go. And with that in mind, it's a coming-of-age story, and it's a character that should keep changing and growing. That's part of what's so different about Terry than Bruce Wayne is we start with Bruce Wayne usually in a place where, except for, you know, past origin, he refuses to change. This is a guy that is constantly changing and growing, and he's growing into Batman. And it just makes so much sense to do a serialized, ongoing story with that character, just like it did Spider-Man.
And it has a changing supporting cast, which none other series before this really had. And
good point.
We introduced like a new girl, and I think his girlfriend eventually fades away, and like we.
I think she's always kind of there, and back and they do the back and forth with her all the time.
So the paint here was originally red, and the censor said no.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Well, that's where they draw the line.
And one of the big things I think about this is, it's not Peter Parker. Like, this is almost a line being drawn under it. It's not Peter Parker. He did do the right thing when he stopped that Joker earlier.
Well, yeah.
He didn't. Yeah,
that's true.
His sin, the thing.
I guess I just mean in the sense that he's a teenager and.
Well, yeah, and he's joking,
he loses
and he's
someone,
quipping.
and yeah.
His great sin.
In the superficial ways, he's kind of like, and this kid always looked like a young Bruce Wayne to me.
His great sin is that he didn't appreciate his dad, which isn't exactly the Peter Parker thing, because Peter Parker, he gets bit by the spider and then kind of acts like a jerk, but before that moment, he always respected them. He didn't like his dad.
Now, one issue I've always had with the show is...
Well, at least as much as a teenager doesn't like their parents.
Yeah, I have to remind myself what exactly his backstory is a lot, because I don't feel like we go back to it enough.
Well, that's because we lose Blight. Because that's part of why Blight is the main villain for the whole first season, is he's the one that killed his dad.
You know, it's funny, like, I've watched this whole show, I've done the top 10 list, a lot of that stuff I've totally forgotten about.
The lighting here is beautiful.
Yeah. It's real somber. It almost feels like you're in a funeral home.
Things I said, like, I wish I lived with Mom. Because we're on television, we can't actually say the things that teenagers would say to their parents.
That's a good point.
Hey, our dad just died. Maybe don't be a little snot.
We got that out of the way real fast.
Yeah.
And I can see people watching this for the first time feeling like that's pretty obligatory, but you can't be Batman and not have that tragedy. And it's that tragedy that leads into the Batcave in the first place.
And I want to say I did watch this when it first aired, but I think on a technicality I didn't watch it because where I was, WB Kids aired on Sundays, not Saturdays. So everyone else probably saw it the day before me. But I think I did watch this when it aired.
I think it would have been really easy to make him, this probably goes without saying, but to make him too much like either of the Robins they've done already.
Mm-hmm.
And Terry McGinnis is, I think one of the reasons he's so well liked is that he feels like a totally distinct character, and he's not Tim Drake again. He's not. Oh, they haven't done Jason Todd, even though Tim Drake was sort of like Jason Todd. So he's just like Jason Todd. It's not that either.
No, he's completely his own character.
He's not like totally out for revenge. He doesn't want to put on the batsuit and kill people.
No, but he certainly has a the way we often play Robin in the comics, where like Batman sees in Dick Grayson someone that deals with the same tragedy better than him,
yes,
and could maybe be better than him. And I think he sees that in Terry eventually.
Yeah,
is that he's someone who is driven by the tragedy, but is not defined by it as a person, in the same way Bruce Wayne is.
And I liked it. Like he's not immediately a detective, but he's trying to solve a problem with wits and logic, and not just going at it with his fists.
Mm.
Like he could go, "Oh, what was the company? I'm going to go kill that guy."
He's a processing hero.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, no, we're establishing for the audience quickly. He's not. Well, one of the interesting things about Terry is that
I want to say that actually is the end of episode 1. Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to spend $5 for that, but
one of the interesting things, and if you're
not
watching
a movie.
At home, that's
where the break was. Yeah. Sorry, I should have told people to pause right there.
One of the interesting things about Terry is that he isn't just Bruce Wayne living vicariously. He's not just a young kid that like Bruce Wayne tells what to do. He's also a thinking man. He also solves things. You believe that this person, he's still a dumb teenager, but you believe that this guy could get to a point where he doesn't need Bruce Wayne. You know, when he's 25, he'll be able to stand on his own just as well as Bruce Wayne did.
He also already has some kind of a sense of responsibility. You know, it makes me wonder if Peter Parker would have made the same mistake if he had a younger sibling. Because being the older sibling gives you an innate sense of responsibility. Mm-hmm. And I think that's intentional. And if you think about it, none of the Robins ever have siblings either.
It's true. Except for Weirdly and Forever, but he's the younger sibling.
Yeah.
I'm not a stranger, I'm famous. Wow, that's a low blow.
Jeez.
One day we'll have cars that the doors fold out and are stairs.
Yeah.
I can't wait till we get to that point.
I wish we had an ability. Yeah, but only the limos.
You know, trucks.
You know, somebody's got
those big trucks. They could use a door that folds out and is stairs.
You know, somebody's got a lot of money if they've got that. If they've got the stairs that come out. If you're really rich, it's an escalator. It's just 3 stairs that do this.
That's the symbol of wealth in Gotham.
Stairs.
Stair car.
Yeah. And you know what's really funny about it too? It reminds me of the things, the doors that come down in the sides of buses so that you can put like wheelchairs and things in them. Mm-hmm. And it's hilarious because it's not handicap accessible, but it looks like that's what it should be. So, it's a MacGuffin plot that kind of works.
Yeah. Because it's a detective MacGuffin plot.
Yeah. But, like, it's kind of... And I don't know if they were thinking about how much of a risk this might have been. Kind of a risk in your future show that the first thing you do is everybody's after a disc. Everybody's always after a disc. Especially in the future.
The only difference now is that it would be a USB drive.
Yep. But especially in the 90s, everybody's always after a disc.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
That's great.
He throws a bat around. Unchain the dog. Unrope the dog.
But he made the effort to go out there and tie him up in the first place.
Yeah.
Which is regular rope. Now, is that how you get into the Batcave in the animated series?
It's the clock.
It is the clock.
Yeah.
Okay. I can never remember what Batman gets into what. Gets into the cave
but it
in what
opens
way.
like this.
Except for 60s Batman. I know how 60s Batman gets into his cave.
Right,
But I can never remember.
He
how
practices
he
his
gets into what Batcave.
familiarity with the Bard.
Yeah.
That's... Yeah, I know we keep talking about this, but the genius of the show really was... I mean, a lot of it was just the in of making it a direct sequel to the animated series by having Bruce there in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And just immediately giving you a reason to care.
The,
It could have been just as easily. It could have been this kid somehow or rather figures out that deceased Bruce Wayne was Batman or something. You know.
The other thing that I think is real smart that the comics did not learn was
maybe a Robin has the cave or something. Like there's all kinds of other things you could have done that would have been a lot less interesting.
Yeah. The thing that I think that this does that's really smart the comics did not learn and continue to not learn is they were able to make a rogues gallery that was Batman's rogues gallery but not.
Right.
You did not just have Scarecrow Beyond, you had Spellbinder. You didn't have Catwoman Beyond, you had the
10.
10.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
And she's cool.
Yeah, she's really
I like
cool.
her. And in a lot of ways, she feels like what they should have done with Catwoman.
Yeah, and there's a lot of characters like that where like there's an obvious parallel, but they are not just them Beyond. And the comics did a lot of just them Beyond.
Yeah, and the Royal Flush Gang was cool because, if I'm not mistaken, that was them going to something they hadn't done yet and just futurifying it, but it's not really a Batman thing.
Well, and then it becomes...
Isn't that just a DC thing?
Yeah, and then it becomes cool because they put the Royal Flush Gang in Justice League.
Right. And they make it a legacy thing where they keep the family, it's a royal family, they keep passing it down.
Yeah, and this was my introduction to the Royal Flush Gang.
Mine too.
And
I'm sure
really
a lot
cool.
of people.
They fly around in cards.
I want to say that's just second or third episode. I think it's pretty quick, isn't it?
You can check the episode listings on the DVD.
Oh, I forget.
Because I'm sure whatever the title is, it's a card pun.
It's not Winning Edge, is it?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
No, I think Winning Edge is the Venom episode.
Well, unless it's Gotham. She's on the back, so it's one of those episodes, yeah. It's that early. And weirdly, Arrow did them almost that early.
Yeah.
We get the Royal Flush Gang really fast with that, and it's not good. Yeah.
But I don't know if I've ever cared about the Royal Flush Gang outside of the show.
No, I don't think I have either.
It's a weird lighter. That guy showed up and he looked like a cardinal, but now he just looks like a future mob boss.
Yeah.
He also is kind of dressed. His fashion specifically seems to be based on Kryptonian fashion.
Oh yeah, that's great. I was going to like an Eastern place.
I mean, not those weird triangle people in Krypton. Those people make me laugh.
I guess he's like a Russian mob boss.
Mr. Fix. Oh, that's a great Bond villain name.
Yeah, it is. I need you to go fix this for me. Something else with powers that we didn't really do in the animated series is we take a villain that's just a guy in a suit and we turn him into a supervillain. I don't think we ever did that, did we?
In regular Batman?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Like, there's quite a few things, and like that show starts to feel a little bit tired in third season, like they've kind of run out of things to do, and then you get to this, and I'm not saying third season is all bad. I'm just saying that it does feel like they've been doing this for a while.
Slowly getting away,
and they're like golf cart. But and I forgot about these stormtrooper looking guys, because
that provides the basis for Shriek.
Shriek, yeah. Who's my favorite villain in this show.
Really?
Yeah, I like him a lot.
Interesting.
Some of it's that design, and some of it is the genius of what they do with the sound in that episode.
I've always thought his design was a little generic.
Oh, I like him a lot.
And I also don't like what they do with the sound with it.
Oh, you don't?
Because they drop out the sound, but they keep the score.
No, I know. We've talked about that, but I'm not just talking about that one scene where they do the cool thing with the sound. I mean, like, how the sound works and how they've thought out what a suit does. And I like that they were able to make a villain, menacing is not the right word, but like a sufficient enough threat who should be really goofy because he doesn't have digits. I love that. Like, he's got teddy bear hands, but he can kill you with them. I like him a lot. Now, undisputably, I think the coolest villain costume is Spellbinder.
I agree. Oh, I love Spellbinder.
Although
I also really like Blight.
Knock out those futuristic boxes. Yeah, of course.
Even in the future, we have boxes everywhere.
Where...
We will never evolve past boxes.
Nope, we sure won't. Put all these boxes.
Although, to be fair, that does seem like a real essential thing. Like if you can think of a
futuristic way to not have to have boxes,
you are the next Asimov. That is the next level of thinking forward of the future. Is if you can come up with a future that doesn't need boxes.
Because even if you had teleporters, you'd still have to put crap in
something.
Crap.
Yeah. If you can think past boxes, you are the next great science fiction writer.
But any way you slice it, those are futuristic boxes, and that's kind of hilarious. This probably goes without saying, but I've always loved the comic book thing of that face doesn't make sense and I don't care.
Mm. Yeah, does it just sit here and go like that?
It just doesn't make sense.
It looks
yeah.
Great.
You're right, this is one of the darker things they've done. You got old Bruce Wayne just sitting there watching bad guys beat the crap out of someone.
See, Ace
is not happy about this.
He's a moral barometer.
Yeah. And look how disciplined he always looks. Like he's Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Like that dog is Batman.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome. Oh, cool! He grew a conscience. Yes.
He's not gonna let me die.
He should be much angrier about this. I mean, I guess he has to save himself right now, but... Okay, can I complain about something that is super nitpicky and you're going to think is a really stupid complaint?
Okay.
Or maybe you won't. Maybe you'll agree with me. The laser guns sound too much like Star Wars blasters.
Oh, no problem with that.
I don't like that.
That's what lasers sound like.
Okay. But it was a long time ago, Eric. It shouldn't be in the future.
If you can think past Star Wars sounding blasters, you're the next great science fiction writer.
No, but you can, because I've heard lots of different laser sounds. They don't all sound like that.
And they've never been as good.
That might be true, but that's not the point.
Look at that wall. That's clearly animated differently than the rest of the wall.
Yeah, there's no way you walk into that room and you don't think, I should push against this wall and see if it's a trap door.
Did you ever have that when you were a kid?
Where you were watching walls where you were just like, this should be a trap door. I'm pushing against this.
No, where you'd watch, like, older...
That can't actually be a book with pages!
Where you'd watch older, like, Hanna-Barbera cartoons, and you could tell what they were going to interact with in the scene because it was actually animated as opposed to, like, just painted. I always felt like a genius as a kid where I'm like, oh, they're going to use that phone.
One thing
it's there.
They were really smart about here is making us buy that Bruce gets okay with him being in the suit. He's reluctant about it, but it's not obnoxious. Like, this whole season could be every episode he tries to be Batman and Bruce doesn't want him to be Batman.
No, but they come up with ways to keep having conflict between them that totally works.
Yes.
One of the best ones being the one where they think Bruce has gone crazy.
I forgot all about that. That's a great episode. Bruce is a great mentor, but he's not... But, like... I mean, in some ways he's a great mentor, and in some ways he's not, because he's not good at letting the reins go and not being always in control. That's why a lot of people like to do futuristic totalitarian Batman. He just doesn't know how to not be in control. And when you have... It's hard to make this dynamic work when this is the same guy, and specifically this version, who almost always tells Robin to stay home.
Well, and I also love... at some point in this series, they will have a discussion about personal lives, and Bruce says, like, I never figured out how to make that work.
Right.
I don't know how to do that and be Batman. And I like...
They do it with Talk About 10. That's where that is.
Yes, that's exactly where that is. And I love that that's in there. Yeah, I don't know why I went Sin City. That guy is obviously a Bond henchman.
Yeah.
And he's a Bond villain.
Yeah.
This is all very Bond
He might
movie.
as well have a cat to counterbalance Ace the Bat Hound.
And that's not just me throwing Bond in. They've talked about Bond before. I know they're Bond people.
Blight Cat.
Specifically in Return of the Joker, they mention that the opening is a Bond opening. Or like it's an adventure, it ends on a punchline, but it's not part of the story.
Well, that's how you do some things in this that are familiar without being just Batman all over again.
Mm-hmm.
But it still feels like a Batman show.
Yeah.
Once again, it's just so much of this shouldn't work.
Yeah, and it all does. No, I love Batman Beyond.
There's a reason we can't stop going back to it in comics now, and why people want live action so bad.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I still have never understood that. I don't know that I need this aesthetic in live action. I've always said that.
It would look real cool.
I don't totally understand the obsession with that because it's so stylized. I almost don't want to see anybody attempt it. Almost. I mean, I'm not open to it.
I love Cyberpunk, and I think that would be cool. Cyberpunk Batman on screen. That'd be cool. But it wouldn't look like this. It would look like Blade Runner.
Yeah. And it's just in the same way that I didn't need Ghost in the Shell. I mean, not in the same way.
But Ghost in the Shell looked great.
It did.
That was the one thing that had going for it.
Yeah, you make a good point. I like how digital the virus looks.
Mm-hmm.
I think
it's real square and edgy.
That's interesting.
It's real unhip. So there's a line.
The idea being that like that
oh, he's got
that
it.
virus
Of course he does.
couldn't have existed until now.
Consistent technology.
Yeah. You're talking about the
claws.
the claws
on the fingers.
that
which we talked about
pointed
in
out
World's Finest.
in World's Finest, which I think is the first place those show up.
I think so too.
And this is only a couple of years after that. So
and I think
they're
he uses
thinking about
those
that
more
quite
regularly.
a bit. He does.
So
So that's fun that you've got technology. That you've got an evolution of technology.
Yeah. And obviously the Batarang. Their Batarangs are so cool.
I'm not saying they don't make continuity mistakes in the DCAU, but there's a lot of real tight stuff.
So this guy's about to have this line.
More blood.
That was in the commercials for this show and has always stuck with me, where he says, "You're just some clown who thinks he's Batman." Something about that line. There it is.
Yeah.
You're pretty strong for some clown who thinks he's Batman. I don't know why. I really like that line. Maybe it's just because it was in the trailers and I saw it a lot. But
well, and I think some of it.
And then he says, "I am Batman." That is the moment of the film.
That line is real indicative of why the show is hard. And why it ultimately works and how smart and thoughtful they were making it, because he has to prove that he's worthy of this mantle. And he's got to prove it as much to the audience as he does to Bruce Wayne, because so many of us... I mean, think about it. This is before we ever had anybody except for Jean-Paul Valley for a year in the Batsuit.
Well,
besides Bruce Wayne.
Well, we had Prodigal.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, that's after Nightfall. Shortly after Nightfall, Dick Grayson takes over for
oh, that's right. But that wasn't for very long.
No, it was like 6 issues, something like that.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I wasn't even going to count that.
Yeah.
I forgot what that was called. But yes. But I mean, this was before we had any stints where somebody else was in the Batsuit.
Which we can't stop doing now, but yeah.
This also is only 3 or 4 years, maybe 5, after Robin 3000, which doesn't quite work. I like the look of that book, but it's real hokey. We'll have to review that at some point.
You know...
I think I might have put it in our box for review.
I hadn't thought about this.
Yeah.
Homecoming's riffing on this, right? Like, his excuse for everything he does is that he's working for Mr. Stark?
Yes.
Which
I don't know if they did it on purpose, but
which
you're
is
right.
One of
it
the
is the
best,
same thing, isn't it?
Which is one of the best covers for superhero activities, is that he's the personal aide of Bruce Wayne.
Yes.
Such a good, like, smart cover.
Yeah, because every time he runs off, it's going to be to work for the guy that's putting him in the field in the first place. So it's a really good alibi.
Yeah. Yeah, no one's going to call Bruce Wayne, and Bruce Wayne's going to be like, what are you talking about? I didn't call for Terry.
Yeah, it always works. Until right now, the music in that scene did not work.
No, because it was real generic, just...
And it was too happy. Even though that was, an uplifting scene, that was too happy for this show.
That guy's cool looking.
Yeah. He's trapped. He's attached to the wall.
Sorry, what? the first thing they say is, well, the good news is...
I like that we make the joke all the time. Like, oh no, don't get around that radiation or whatever that is. It's gonna, or don't eat that thing. It's gonna make you glow in the dark. I don't like that he actually glows in the dark.
He's so cool. Look, it's such a great design.
Yeah, it's just fun that we have a show in this continuity that sets up a big bad. Because you had some continuity stuff here and there in Superman, but this is the first time we get this archy.
And I like that his name is Blight because he's the blight of things, but also the word light is in the word blight.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That's fun.
And, I mean, I'm sure there were a lot of kids that had this. I immediately thought, oh, he's a Captain Planet villain. There is a Captain Planet villain named Dr. Blight, and he is, you know, he also could have been a Captain Planet villain.
At what point is Green Lantern going to cross over with Captain Planet?
I don't know. Green Lantern's crossing with freaking everything right now, but Captain Planet doesn't even have a book, so Captain Planet should have a book. I've been wanting that forever. IDW needs to, or Boom, need to give Captain Planet a book.
It's true.
Well, but it would probably be DC, wouldn't it? Because they're doing all the Hanna-Barbera stuff.
But that's not Hanna-Barbera.
Is it not?
That's Ted Turner.
It is. That's right. I forgot. I don't know who's got that stuff.
But it's got to be whoever's got the Cartoon Network
stuff,
right?
But like Blight, because is it? I don't know. I'll look into it. But yeah, Blight, you know, gets turned into that because of, you know, a virus thing, because of toxic chemicals things. He's a Captain Planet villain.
Did you hear what? Speaking of Cartoon Network,
yeah,
this is now going to be dated information, but it'll be even better for you, the viewer.
Yeah.
Boomerang, the channel, the Cartoon Network channel, their website boomerang.com has now just become an archive of all of the cartoons that they own.
Oh, really?
And they keep adding more stuff.
Is it a free archive?
Yeah, and because they own Hanna-Barbera, like all the Hanna-Barberas up there.
That's nuts.
And things like that. So
cool.
So by the time you see this, there should be even more things on there.
Wow, that's quite a resource.
Yeah. Yeah.
And every parent should know about that.
Yep, I agree.
That's really cool. Well, folks, thanks for watching. We sure appreciate it. This was super short.
Yeah.
But we did the first 2 parts of Batman. And next time...
Dead Man's Hand. Dead Man's Hand
that's
is
what it is. Next time... I didn't even see that on this. I don't even... Oh, yeah, there it is. Excuse me. Tomorrow...
Oh, it's followed by Golem. Golem sucks. Sorry.
Tomorrow we'll be doing the other Batman Beyond thing we're doing on this. Those wind up back to back just because of how things were released. But we'll be doing Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker, and hopefully we can. I don't know if you have a copy of the good version because
I don't.
I currently do not, so we're gonna have to get our hands on it.
Okay.
Yeah, I say the good version. It's not like the other version's bad or anything, but
the better version.
Yeah. But
and the version that has commentary.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Yep.
Okay. Well, anyway, so we'll get our hands on that, and in the meantime, thanks for watching. I am Captain Logan.
And I'm Eric.
See you tomorrow, folks.